Chapter 1. An Incident. It was a routine matter for Sena. An hour before they had reached Earth to begin their vacation, they picked up a distress signal that was routed through to them from headquarters. Sena's ship was relatively close, so he had to divert from finally seeing his parents again to check it out. The target ship is still here, but it seems non-functional. I'm also reading enemy ships. If we were able to use our super hyperspace jump to get here, we would have been able to get here in time. They couldn't because the ship's ability to jump like that was top secret, and this wasn't an ordinary decoy mission, so they had orders not to use it. Can we stop the enemy ships? Of course, Amain said happily. Wait. High-energy reaction. Kariko reported, and suddenly all the enemies were surrounded by a white light. They're committing suicide. Damn, they must want to hide the evidence of what they're doing here. The precise scan has finished. There are 15 escape capsules. They must have stuck around to hunt the survivors down. What's their status? There are 9 responses coming from the capsules, but there is only one putting out a life reaction. What do you mean? Amain asked, confused. Sena didn't understand what that meant and felt a bit confused by the situation. Let's hurry up and recover them anyways, Kariko said, looking at Sena. Sena nodded. When a ship was attacked by space pirates and the inside of the ship was destroyed, on-site verification was usually done by dedicated probes and nanomachines. That way they could quickly investigate the inside of the ship while staying in their own. It was partially also to prevent someone's spacesuit from accidentally springing a leak with all the debris in the area. Another reason was that it kept them from having to expose Sena to the miserable sight of all the dead on the ship. Kariko did the probe search herself, so she could make sure Fuku didn't see it either. How is the inside of the ship? Sena looked worried. Kariko was a little hesitant to answer. There are no survivors inside the ship. We are currently collecting the bodies while conducting a precision scan of the site. Is that so? Mia? Fuku noticed the look on Sena's face. Although she didn't know exactly what was going on because of Kariko, she had realized it was bad from the look on Sena's face. How about the capsules? Sena asked, noticing Fuku's anxiety to distract her. Of course, he wanted to distract his own anxieties as well. The capsules have been recovered, but since they don't seem to have survived, I'll get to them once I'm done with the survey. Okay. How's the other capsule? Sena asked while stroking Fuku on the shoulder. It's currently being collected by Amain, Hakurin, and Karen. Is that so? Are there any other survivors? Sena seemed to be praying, but his wish was in vain, and there were no survivors in the other capsules. In the medical room of the Kamadake, a boy about 5 years old, the only survivor, was laid down. It's okay, he has no noticeable trauma and there are no abnormalities with his body. Kariko, who was scanning the boy's body, told Sena with a smile. That's good, but although Sena was relieved, he looked at the boy who was sleeping and made a clouded expression. Hakurin, how are things going on your end? Recovery of the bodies is complete and we're done sorting them. Have you found any of the survivors' family? From the genetic data, we identified the mother's escape capsule. We found his father in the ship. The damage to both of them is quite drastic, and it will be necessary to correct a few things before they are resuscitated. They could reproduce some of their damaged body parts, but they had to be careful so they wouldn't suffer from a mental shock when resurrected. I trust your judgment. Please continue working. Roger that. I hope we can help them. The father was shot while trying to help the mother and child escape. Then the mother released the capsule with the child, and she managed to get herself onto a capsule somehow. From the scan, they could deduce a detailed record of what happened. I guess I should be happy that at least one of them was saved, huh? Sena noticed that Fuku was staring disturbingly at the boy. Fuku? Fuku. Sena unexpectedly raised his voice to the surprisingly cold-eyed Fuku. Mia. Fuku came back to reality. She shook her tail at Sena happily. I wonder what was going through her mind just now, Sena thought. Those cold eyes did not match what he had come to expect from Fuku. Everything is complete. We've taken as much data as possible, Amain announced. Should we analyze the data here? It's not like we can do anything else. No, we better leave some work for the analytics team so they get paid. Let's hand over the data as is. We don't want them to know how well the Kamadake can analyze things anyways. Yeah, Just like our hyperspace navigation, it will seem strange if they see we analyzed it over such a short amount of time. I know we can't use our ship's full abilities all the time, but I wish we could, so we would have been able to save more than just that child. Sena said, a bit dissatisfied with everyone's opinion. It is an everlasting dilemma that those who have Jurian royal ships and philosophers at the academy face, knowing that the technology you have can help the people in front of you. But it can also cause even greater disasters. The only thing we can do is turn a blind eye. A great disaster? High-level technology is often seasoned in battle. It's not an exaggeration to say that most technology is used by the military the first time. Royal ships and ships like Ryuoki and the Kamidake have great power, but it should be used responsibly. If something went really wrong, it could cause an intergalactic war. People naturally seek to maintain the same or slightly higher power as their opponents. However, if they knew that their power was unobtainably more advanced than their own, a war could develop from that fear alone. Could it really get that bad? And when trying to gain that power, it's often the personality of those involved that is the most devastated. I'm ashamed, just remembering how we tried to build a subsystem for Fuku. It was an unobjective weapon, and one that was heartlessly made. All they cared about was whether or not it could execute instructions reliably. As if it was possible to make Fuku operate reliably just by turning on a switch. Of course, that's why they use disguises for the ships if possible and tamper with records. Royal ships are easy to disguise. Without the wood exterior, it's just a small unit. It's easy to conceal from other countries, but for this ship that would be difficult, don't you think? Yes! Fortunately, since we are acting directly under and reporting only to Eri now, it is easy to tamper with the records. But when we're formally deployed like this, we need to maintain the image that we're just another ship in the fleet. I'm sure it's just a matter of time, though, that everyone finds out. But for now, it has to be hidden until that becomes impossible. Yes, I understand. To further complicate things, Sena was still a minor. Giving such a powerful ship to a youth, when youthful people were seldom able to responsibly wield such things, would cause extra tension. There were no adults who trusted truly important decisions to youth. Especially Sena, with his ridiculously high probability bias. He couldn't afford to make a mistake. He could cause a disaster to spin out of control with little momentum. And with the Kamidake, he had power comparable to a royal ship. As such, Sena had to live with the same dilemmas that those with royal ships did. Do we know the identity of the survivor? He was registered in the Central Gene Bank, but we don't know why he and his family were on the ship or why the ship was attacked. The data of the boy was displayed, and his parents' photos were also displayed beside him. Oh, those are his parents, and other relatives are none. Well, I am fortunate to have been able to at least save this child. I guess there's no other way to think of it. Well, since he is the only witness, we will have to hand him over to those in charge together with the data we collected. There was nothing else that Sena could do for him. Captain, the boy has regained consciousness. Ryoko reported. Sena and the others headed for the transfer gate to the medical area immediately. An incident occurred at the same time as consciousness returned to the boy, in the area where the capsules full of bodies were placed. Brian. Blades protruded from the inside of a capsule, breaking it open from the inside. Corpses with blades for arms came out. The first corpse unlocked another capsule, and those corpses unleashed the others, one after another. An alarm was triggered instantly, but Sena was not aware of it because the alarm for the capsules were set to a low priority, and they were busy paying careful attention to the boy.